let's get into the news.
News.
So, Rise, of course, we're recording this on the weekend before it all comes out and all of that good stuff. So yesterday was the day that God gave us the most important figure of history.
Debatable.
Other than Jesus. And that is Batman.
Sure.
Of history. Making sure that, like, Batman's a real person, if everyone doesn't know that.
Yeah.
So, Batman Day, best day in the world, because the B-Man.
Remind me, I've got a funny Batman story to tell you after we do this news.
So, director Zack Snyder, very involved. He's really good at social media marketing.
Yes, he is.
Probably one of the best at it. Puts out this picture. And we've seen mock-ups of J.K. Simmons.
Some very good mock-ups.
Yeah, as Commissioner Gordon. And then he puts out this little ditty. And it's him pulling the drape off of the bat signal and him standing there with his hat. Like, he just perfect.
Perfect casting choice as Commissioner Gordon. Like, I loved Gary Oldman in Christopher Nolan's series, but I think J.K. Simmons could surpass him.
Oh, yeah. I think he's going to trounce him, like 100%.
Like, J.K. Simmons is such a good actor. I would have been, like, for this Spider-Man reboot, I would have been okay if they just brought him back as J. Jonah Jameson, because he looked like he jumped right off of the pages and onto the screen. And honestly, the way he looks as Gordon kind of reminds me of the same.
Yeah, and like just the lighting and everything, the water, it being reflected and everything.
Yeah.
It's just perfect. And I cannot wait to see what happens.
Justice League, I'm very, very excited for. Like, I think Justice League is going to be very good.
Yeah, and you talked about Deathstroke last week.
Oh, my God.
I'm just...
Did you see what Manu Bennett wrote to whatever his name is, Joe Manganiello, about him playing Deathstroke? He said, okay, if Joe is going to play Slade Wilson, then I get to be in Magic Mike 3.
I'd watch it.
Oh, yeah. Manu, I mean, I love Manu Bennett, but I think Joe Manganiello, from what very little I've seen of him, I think he's got the look of Slade Wilson, because he even reminds me a little bit of Manu Bennett.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, he's got the right physique and everything, and he was actually in How I Met Your Mother.
Really?
Yeah, he was Marshall's friend in the show, so I like him.
Yeah, I think Deathstroke is the perfect villain choice for that Batman movie.
Oh,
because it's something that's completely different. We don't have to worry about seeing, a Joker again or Two-Face. It's a completely different villain than what we've seen on the big screen.
Yeah.
And Deathstroke's a perfect adversary for Batman.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be perfectly matched. It's not going to be something that's so far out there that he can't beat. Deathstroke is as skilled as Batman and is deadly, so it's perfect, but we're not going to get to hear that line.
Put an arrow in his eye.
Yeah.
I made you a promise, kid.
Put an arrow in his eye. So, he also, Zack Snyder's just teasing it everywhere.
Well, it was Batman Day. It was a big day.
Yeah. So, he actually put out a new picture of Batman, and this is the tactical bat suit. And a lot of people tried to compare this to the owl from The Watchmen.
I don't see it.
Like, if you squint and you take off your glasses, maybe. But
with the goggles, I can kind of see it. But the armor, honestly, like looking at this picture, the armor reminds me of Christian Bale's suit a little bit.
Yeah, it kind
of the material.
Yeah, the material reminds me of that. It actually looks like the last Arkham game, like how it was much more armored and everything. So I'm fine with it. It looks great.
I actually
done.
I like the different bat suits, like the tactical bat suit, a suit that he has, for cold weather when he fights Mr. Freeze. I'm a fan of the various bat suits.
Yeah, because, one bat suit's not, it's not one size fit all type deal. But he tweeted out, this is the last day filming Batman in the new tactical bat suit. Check it out right here. So if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out.
Yeah.
It is well worth it. And then it just kept coming. It just kept coming this week. Like this one right here. Rogue One put out some new promotional, not fodder, but promotional stuff. Posters for their Asian territories. And the Korean one, I want to say it was Korea and somewhere else. I can't remember, but Japan.
Yep.
Just
breathtaking.
Yes. Like, if I was on that planet and the Death Star was right there, I would be crapping myself.
I would hop on the first ship off that planet.
Yes, I would too. And then this one doesn't... It's not as good, in my opinion.
It needs something more. Like, I like the lights. It's like they're going through the detention cell in the Death Star. But it needs, like, you see the lights and then black. There needs to be some texture there.
Yeah, like, there needs to be something, like, it looks like they photoshopped everybody in.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And this kind of looks that way as well, the one with the Death Star, but it still looks so good that we can get past that. But I'm glad they're putting, more stuff out there, not giving away the story. We know
what the story is.
We know what happens, but we don't know how we get there. And I'm just glad that they're putting some stuff out there. If they just took her out of there, that would have been a perfect poster, in my opinion.
This movie is going to be really good.
Oh, yeah.
I've said it before, but I think they can do something unique and cool with these spin-offs because you don't have to focus on the Skywalker family. Mm-hmm. You can tell different stories. Like with this, we're getting how the Rebels got the Death Star plans. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've got a Han Solo movie, and we know that obviously it's not going to have any of the Skywalkers in it.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing with the other ones, but I think these can be something that stand on their own while fitting into a larger story.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect chance to explore the universe in a more fulfilling way. Like, yes, I love seeing the Force, I love seeing Jedi and all of that, but getting something other than that, because you've got 7 movies so far that is just filled with it.
Yeah.
So getting, people that aren't Force sensitive, that are just normal people trying to, defeat a great evil or whatever, is going to be a lot more interesting than what we've seen 7 times in a row already.
Well, plus it's a big galaxy out there. Mm-hmm. We don't have just the Skywalker family in it. Yeah. I'd like to see other stories.
If I could vote for one story, well, it'd be 1 or 2. It'd either be Darth Bane. I would love to see a Darth Bane movie, or make Thrawn the villain.
He is part of the canon now.
He is. I would love to see a Thrawn movie.
This is kind of, it fits in with the Skywalker story, but something that I'd like to see maybe down the line, a CG animated Shadows of the Empire.
Ooh.
Bring back Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford to do all the voices.
I'd love that.
That'd be so good.
Well, maybe not Harrison Ford. If he's just getting paid to voice act.
Maybe a flashback or 2. I know he's frozen during that time period, but maybe a flashback or 2.
Yeah. So Rogue One's been going through several weeks of reshoots after Alexandre Desplat, I guess that's how you say his name.
Something like that.
Was replaced by Michael Giacchino as the film's new composer. So Alexander, whatever, was a composer for the Harry Potter series. Very interesting that he was replaced. There must have been something going on, or he might not have been following what they were wanting him to achieve. You don't see composers getting replaced very often in movies, so that's a pretty interesting one. And then Michael Giacchino, he's done The Incredibles, but he also did Star Trek. So very, very good guy. He does a lot of theme and variation, though.
Yeah.
So, but at this point in time, Star Wars is pretty set in stone on what it needs to sound like, and if it sounds like Star Wars, then you've done your job.
Yeah.
And as long as he doesn't write the main ones, then I'm fine.
Yeah.
Because it needs to stay.
The king still needs to stay with the main movies.
Yeah, exactly. Some more Star Wars news. Turner signs movie cable rights deal with Disney. The estimated price was over $250 million.
It's worth it, though.
According to Variety, Turner signed a deal with Disney that industry sources estimate to be no less than $250 million. This partnership grants Turner their basic cable rights to 10 Star Wars films, 4 of which are still on the horizon, with a separate agreement being made with 20th Century Fox for the original film A New Hope. In addition to Turner, USA Networks and FX Networks were also in contention with the deal. So I'm guessing this is...
Runs through 2022.
Yeah, so this is for them to have exclusive rights to show the movies and everything. Yeah. So it's very interesting that they would want to do that. I remember Turner used to have a deal where they could show, like during Thanksgiving, they would always show the original 3. Yeah. So that was always a big deal because I remember Thanksgiving was James Bond and Star Wars.
Yep.
So I watched the mess out of some James
Great
Bond
time
and
for
Star Wars.
TV.
Yeah, it is. Your belly's full and you're on the verge of a coma. So
usually with me, I'm in the coma. The last 2 years, anytime I come home from Thanksgiving, I take like an hour and a half nap.
I try to fight through it.
As I've gotten older, it's gotten harder.
So, going on with that, Adam Driver has compared the greatest movie ever made by a human being, Episode 5.
The greatest movie there ever is, was, or will be.
He has compared it to Episode 8's script. In an interview with Collider, Driver says, it's similar to how The Empire Strikes Back has a different tone. For that, people always go, ooh, it's dark. But I don't know that it's necessarily is. It's just different in tone in a way that I think is great and necessary, but also very clever. He goes on to say...
Rian Johnson trusts his audience and ready for nuance and ambiguity, and he is not dumbing anything down, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem with Hollywood is, they won't understand that, so let's spoon feed it and water it down. What do you think about that?
I think, it's not going to be as good as Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
I think taking it in a darker direction, I think is good. I hope there are certain things that don't happen just for the sake of them happening. Like, I'll go ahead and say it. I don't want Luke Skywalker to get killed off in this movie.
I don't either.
Because it would feel like they're trying to replicate what happened in The Force Awakens. Like, you can't just kill off one by one the original characters.
Yeah.
Like, if something happens in, say, Episode 9, then I think it would be different. But I don't think that Luke, Leia, or any of the original characters need to be killed off in this movie.
Yeah.
I think what will probably happen is that we'll see the good guys in the end of the movie. They'll be hurt or basically down like they were at the end of Empire, where Han gets frozen and taken by Boba Fett. Luke gets his hand cut off. I think the heroes will be in a bad but a hopeful position at the end of the movie. And then 9 is when everything's resolved.
Yeah. I hope it picks right up where it left off, which that is the case.
It picks up right where Force Awakens left off.
Him saying, it's dark, but I don't know if it's necessarily, is dark. That kind of, is it dark? That kind of leaves room for that. I think if they want to be successful, they can't, if they remake... like what people were saying that Force Awakens was a remake of New Hope. If they just remake The Empire Strikes Back, people are going to start getting pissed.
I don't think they will.
And I think they're smart enough not to do that.
There is one moment that I think would be kind of cool as a reflection of Empire Strikes Back. We all know the scene where Luke tries to pick up the X-Wing out of the swamp, and he says he can't do it because it's too big. And then Yoda just walks over and goes...
Those were the sound effects they brought in.
Pretty
Derek
much.
Diamond. They're like, all right, here you go.
I'm like the Police Academy guy. What I would love to see is a Star Destroyer in orbit around the planet, and Luke just brings it down.
Do you I remember? Did you ever play? What was that game? Oh my God! It was The
Force Unleashed.
Force
Yes.
Unleashed. Okay, so you played the part where you bring down. I don't know if, since Luke being a Jedi, I don't know if he would kill that many people though.
True.
See, but it would be awesome. Oh my God, it'd be.
I think it'd be kind of a cool reflection where it's like, oh, this guy who thought he couldn't pick up a small ship then brings down an entire Star Destroyer.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be an awesome visual. But yeah, I see your point about he wouldn't kill that many people.
Or, he might be a gray Jedi instead of a regular Jedi. But I'm excited about it. I think Episode 8 is going to be a great movie. We've been introduced to the new cast. I like all of them. Kylo Ren, I think, is going to be an awesome villain. Snoke, I'm ready to learn more about him. I'm ready to see the training. I'm hoping, we've seen the Jedi training.
I want some Sith training.
That's what I'm really wanting, and to learn who Snoke really is, because I know I've been asked several times, who's Snoke, and I'm like, I really don't know, because they haven't really given anything.
But that's what's cool,
yeah,
is that we don't know.
It's Jar Jar Binks. That's why his face is all like he cut off his bill.
I still say he brought down the galaxy.
He did.
Because he gave powers to the Chancellor.
Mm-hmm. I hate you, Jar Jar Binks.
Yep.